camera can see my entire street from both directions at the same time. This is the Reolink Duo 3 Wi-Fi. And instead of using one ultra-wide lens, it combines two 4K cameras together to give you a full 180-degree view at 16 megapixels. Starting with what you get in the box. It comes in this decent-sized blue box, which obviously matches the Reolink branding. Opening it up, the first thing you get is this booklet, which includes your user manual, some stickers, the template you'll need for installing the camera, and a few other bits including a SIM card ejector. Then you've got the two antennas that attach to either side of the camera. There's a 1 meter Ethernet cable, the power plug with its cable, as well as a much longer extension cable, which is really useful depending on where you're installing this. You've then got the mounting plate, a packet of screws, the actual mounting bracket, and finally the camera itself. The camera itself is made from metal, which automatically gives a lot more confidence when you're going to permanently leave this outside. It feels properly built compared to some other cameras. Looking around the camera, you've got the two antennas on either side, you've got the daylight sensor, the microphone, a lens on either side, which is how it creates that full 180-degree image. And you've also got the spotlight across the front. Underneath the camera, you've got this little protected section which gives you access to the micro SD card. And then underneath that, you've also got the speaker, which is used for things like the two-way audio. The camera itself is quite big, but considering the fact that this is two cameras in a single unit, I don't think that's much of a problem. Now, without wasting any time, let's get this thing installed. So the first thing you want to do is attach the mounting bracket to the camera, and then both antennas fitted on either side. But before you can connect this to the app, you will have to follow this diagram to connect the camera to your router using the provided Ethernet cable. So all you do is follow this diagram in the instructions, connect the camera to your router, power it on, and then the Reolink app guides you through the rest of the setup. Once that's done, you can disconnect the Ethernet cable and the rest of the setting is basically done through the app. And this doesn't come with the SD card installed, so you will have to get one for yourself. Now, before we head over to the app, let's physically install this. So you've got this mounting template included in the box, which makes things really easy. Make sure you use that. Stick that to where you want the camera, drill your holes, get the mounting plate fitted tightly to the wall. Then the camera bracket basically slides over the plate and you secure it in place using the final screw. From here, you just need to position the camera at the preferred angle. Tighten everything up and you're basically done. Another useful feature that I forgot to mention was the fact that this has mounting slots on both sides, so you can see from the top and the bottom, which means this can be installed in literally any position you can think of. And I definitely recommend using an SD card from a well-known brand, because if it's a cheap one, you're going to lose your footage. Now here's a quick walkthrough of the Reolink app. So once you open the app, you'll be presented with the home page where you can see the devices you've added, or if you do want to add another device, you can see the plus icon in the top right. So heading into the camera, you can see a lot of settings. Right in the center, you can see pause, volume control, image capture, video capture, resolution control from clear to fluent, and finally a full screen option. At the bottom, you can see a tap to talk option, which basically allows you to use the camera as a phone and speak to someone outside. Then you've got the playback and cloud events. The playback is saving all the footage on your SD card, and the cloud events is basically doing the same thing but on the cloud. Once you head into playback, you'll see a collection of all the recorded footage. And a really nice touch here is with each footage, you can see an icon in the top right showing you what event happened within that footage. So in this case, you can see a person detected, a vehicle detected, as well as an animal detected. And staying within the playback page, in the top right, you can see a search option. And this is really useful because it allows you to search your footage. So let's say we want to search anyone that has walked past with red clothing. So you can put in whatever you remember and search that footage instead of spending hours going through it manually. You also have the speed control as well as the download option, where you can choose to install the clip at a maximum of 120 seconds. In the top right, you also have the settings icon, which allows you to go into the specifics of the camera, things like the display, sound, the kind of detection, and linking other devices. So this is the main page you're going to work on, but you also have automation, the library, explore, where you can find more Reolink products, and finally the profile page. Now let's talk about the most important part, which is the image quality, because this is what I think the Reolink does really well. The camera records at 16 megapixels and the image looks really crisp, even with that massive panoramic view. And more importantly, when I actually zoom into the image, it holds up much better than a lot of other security cameras I've used. That's probably the biggest benefit of having all that resolution. You're capturing such a massive area, but you can still zoom into different sections and actually make out what you're looking at. And the sharpness isn't just concentrated in the middle, I found the image stays pretty sharp across the entire frame. The full panoramic view doesn't necessarily look great when you're looking at this zoomed out, but that's because this is fitting 180 degrees on a tiny screen. Now if you have a look at the zoom on this camera, you can see it's much better than other cameras I've used, but this is where also you need to be realistic, because this is digital zoom and not optical. So the more you zoom in, the faster that image is going to lose quality. So while I can zoom into something fairly far away and make out what it is, you're not going to keep that perfect 16 megapixel quality once you're heavily cropped in. So number plates are a really good example. The camera actually does a decent job of capturing them, but I wouldn't say you can rely on them 100%. Lighting obviously makes a big difference, so if you capture this in the daytime, you're much more likely to capture that detail compared to something at night. If capturing number plates is your priority, I definitely recommend setting the image settings to 20 frames per second, which is the maximum, so it can give you the smoothest footage possible. So one feature I was really looking forward to is the motion track, and I spent quite some time looking for it, only to realize that the camera has to be set to high quality for that to work. So what motion track basically does is it creates a single image from a full clip and shows you the events that happen within that clip along with timestamps. So if I head into playback settings now, because the camera is on low quality, you can't actually see the motion track option. So you will have to set this to clear, and in the top right you can see this wiggly kind of worm, and that is basically motion track. Now let's select that clip and create a motion track image based off whatever events happened. This does take a while, and once it's done, it will save to your local folder. So this is another example of why I think the app needs a bit more polish. So right now the motion track is being created, but it doesn't allow me to go back into the app. I rather have to stay on the screen for the motion track to finish. And the fact that it's saved to your local album instead of being shown in the app is a bit odd. So you can see once that's done, it doesn't even show me the result. And now I have to head into the local album to see what image was created. So as mentioned, during the day, the quality is really good. You get plenty of detail, colors look good, and again, the amount of scene you're capturing is ridiculous. But one thing that's really annoying is some of the notifications. So when the camera detects glare, it sends you a notification, and then another one, and then another one. And that gets really annoying because it just keeps piling up. So I think a better solution for that would have been for the camera to adjust itself, or once some notifications are sent, it stops and doesn't keep sending them. But one thing I'd recommend doing to avoid those situations is just leave the image settings as they are. At night, you've got your standard infrared night vision, and this gives you the normal black and white security style footage. The quality is still decent and you can definitely see what's happening around the camera. But where things get much better is when the spotlight turns on. With that additional light, you get a much clearer coloured image, and it's much easier to make out things like clothing, vehicles, and what's actually happening in the scene. And the good thing is you can control when that spotlight activates. This is actually really useful because you probably don't want the light switching on every single time a car passes or an animal walks in the frame. So I personally think you need to be really selective with when this turns on, otherwise it will stay on all the time because it's always detecting some kind of movement. In terms of Wi-Fi performance, I've had no problem with this. If you're watching this at home and you connect it to the Wi-Fi, obviously you'll have no problem streaming. If you are out using your mobile data, it's best to keep this at the lower resolution, because if you try to stream at the maximum resolution, it's going to move a lot of data and naturally that will be slower. For mobile data, I'd recommend keeping this at the lower settings, but at home where you have Wi-Fi, this can be set to the max resolution and you still get a clear, crisp image. So this camera does record sound with the video, but it also has two-way audio, meaning you can talk to someone outside and they can talk to you. Hello, Musa. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do something.
And now finally, the price. The Reolink Duo 3 Wi-Fi is around £144.49. And considering what you're actually getting here, I don't think that's particularly expensive. You've basically got two lenses giving you a full 180-degree view, 16 megapixel recording, different types of detection, the motion track, the two-way audio, and a lot of other features. It's not perfect because the digital zoom still loses a lot of quality as you zoom in. Motion track needs a bit of polish, and the Reolink app in general I think can be improved by a huge margin. But if you're in the market for a camera, I'll leave a link for this one in the description below. That's all for now. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!